Hey, and welcome back to the Grow Like a Mother podcast. You're in for a very special treat today. I welcome in my new friend and colleague, Sarah Kinlin. She's also a professional speaker, a coach, and an educator, and she's Canadian. We have so much in common. I know you guys are going to love her. And she's delivering the most incredible episode today to really give you guys the inside scoop on three questions that you can ask yourself and that she asks her coaching clients when you're trying to set and achieve a goal. Sarah is, as I said, a speaker, a coach, and educator. She motivates and inspires audiences when she's speaking to live their best damn lives while teaching them valuable leadership lessons. As a leadership coach, she takes leaders from tired and overwhelmed, which we can all relate to, right? To rested and focused with that right balance of grit and grace. And she's got over 20 years of leadership experience to help grow leaders in this world. And as mothers, we are the leaders of our family. Even if you are not a leader in business, this episode is for you. And if you are in business and you're thinking, oh, I like this idea. And yeah, I have this imposter syndrome that comes up, or oh, I can't find the time to make this work. Don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm going to link you back to an episode I did last year with Brittany Ashley, another Canadian. She talks with me about busting imposter syndrome, the relationship between managing our time efficiently and building confidence so we can go for these goals that Sarah and I are talking about. I absolutely love when two episodes link in perfectly, which is why I want to make sure that you know about that episode with Brittany. And without any further ado, I'm just going to take you straight into the episode with Sarah that I loved so very much. Welcome, Sarah, to the Grow Like a Mother podcast. I'm so excited that you're here with me today.
I am so excited to be here, Jill, and I'm so excited for all your listeners too.
Yeah, it turns out we have a lot in common. We were just chatting before we hit the record button, and we're both Ontario gals, and we know a lot of the same people, and we do some similar work. So this is going to be a super fun conversation. We're talking today about goal setting. We're talking about your unique approach to it. I mean, the listeners now sort of know who you are from my little introduction, but is there anything else that feels like, I don't know, important or pertinent to share about who you are, the stage of life you're in, anything like that before we roll in?
Yeah, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I was reminiscing yesterday, or had two encounters yesterday where I ran into moms running businesses, moms running businesses who are at a slightly different stage of life than me. So my kids are 20, 17, and 10. So one of them's already graduated college, left the nest, and is now back because that's the affordability of housing. But yeah, so I've been through working a corporate job, busy corporate job, 70 employees, running, taking care of three kids. I think there was a time in there that I was homeschooling them, but I won't mention why. And then I started a business, and then I was still raising three kids, and I decided to get a degree. And I did all of these things in this beautiful state of flow and ease. And I want to just let the moms out there know that you're in the grind. Those first 10 years are hard with the kids, and it gets better and better and better. And I want to share some of my wisdom around goal setting and having the clarity of goals that helps everything become so much easier. Because when you know what your goal is, you know what to say yes and what to say no to. So, mamas, if you have little ones, you can do it. You're going to get through it. And enjoy it, because before you know it, they're 20. It goes in a blink.
I feel like at least I needed to hear that today. So I'm sure lots of the other listeners needed to have that little reminder and like sharing of support and solidarity from someone who's walked the path ahead. That's so valuable to have. So we're really excited to have you and your wisdom here with us today.
Yes. Yes, I'm old.
Listen, I feel old, so that's got to count for something.
Yeah. No, and getting old is a privilege. So like enjoy it, right? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And as
Mhm.
we go through and get older, we do more things, which is I think really good. That's part of the whole growth of life. And that's what this whole podcast is about, talking about how we can grow as we go through life, even though we're moms. How do we keep doing it? And a big piece of that puzzle is like, how do we figure out what we actually even are wanting to do with our life? Because I know for me, it was very all encompassing. Like I kind of lost track of myself when the babies were super small. Um, so I'm curious when you're working with your clients, like what is one of the first questions that you ask them to help them figure out this whole process of like goal setting and what do you actually want?
Yeah, definitely that happened to me. I was climbing the corporate ladder and got to where I did not want to be. I wanted to be a mom my whole life. That was my most important thing. And I also want to be a successful businesswoman and, make a good income. And I was doing those things, but my work was getting the best of me and my family wasn't. And so the first question I asked myself, I went back to, and this is the question I ask all of my clients and many audiences as well, is what did you want to be when you were 10 years old?
Hmm.
What were your hobbies? What did you like spending time with? Did you like to be outside, inside? Did you like to read? Did you like to do different sports? How did you spend your time as a kid before the world started shooting on you? What happened to me was I was smart. I did good in math and science. And because I was smart, there was no question I was going to get a science degree or a math degree. Those were my only options that were given to me when I went to school. I got a degree in chemistry, so geeky. And there was 8 people in my graduating class. Like it's not a popular degree. And I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't give any consideration to what I wanted to do. When I was 10 years old, all I wanted was to be a teacher. I wanted to stand at the front of the room and speak. And so that's a great question to ask people. What did you want to be when you were 10? And
Hmm.
maybe it's 8 or maybe it's 12, but somewhere in there, you had hopes and dreams before the world started to shit on you.
Right. It's
Mhm.
hard to think back, I think,
I
for some of
know.
us too, right? Because we're so um I don't want to say we're present because I don't know that we truly are present, but I think that we sort of rush through life and we don't take the time that we should to reflect back on these types of questions, which is super powerful. But then I wonder like once we have done that reflection, what's next? Like how do we use that information once we take the time to
Yeah.
figure it out?
Then the next question I ask is, what do you hear yourself say you want to do when you retire?
Hmm.
What do you want to do at the end of your life when you're not working anymore? And retirement is so loose now. But I had said when I retire, I'm going to teach leadership lessons. I had taken so many leadership courses in my corporate job. I always said, I want to be the one teaching these courses. And I kept hearing myself say, when I retire, I'm going to teach leadership courses. And then I heard myself say 13 more years, 12 more years, 11 more years, 10 more years. And I didn't want to be living my life in a countdown. So I started getting after those things I was going to do in my retirement sooner. So it's a great question to ask because it lets you know what you really want to be doing, right? Maybe it's sitting on a beach in Florida when you retire. Okay, get a job where you can sit on the beach in Florida today. Like, don't wait, right?
Yes. And especially because of how the world is and how the economic landscape is and how we have access to all of the tools from
Mhm.
we can, I mean, if we're lucky and we craft it that way, we can work from anywhere. And so we can start to take advantage of some of these things like borrowing from our future selves
Yeah,
almost. I like
yeah,
that.
yes, and not waiting, right? Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we've got like reflection back on what we wanted to be when we were still free and innocent and young, and what we want from our future when we anticipate we will be free again from
Mhm.
work. And how do we tie that together today? How can
Yeah.
we like realistically bring that together to figure out what we want now to look like to get the best of it all?
So the question I ask for now is, what is something you've always wanted to do but you've never done?
Mm.
And the answer to that question sometimes is write a book, sometimes it's get a tattoo, sometimes it's go skydiving. Whatever it is, it's something you've never done before. And doing things you've never done before opens your mind to possibility. When I started this self-discovery journey in 2022, anytime somebody, and still, if somebody asks me to do something I've never done before, generally it's a hell yes. Like I want to try new things. The more we expand our perspectives by trying new things, like the better people we are, the more possibility we can see, right? So you start with what you wanted when you were a kid, what you want for your retirement, what are the things you've never done? And from those three questions, I always find themes. Maybe it's a travel theme, maybe it's a leadership theme, maybe it's being with kids theme. Whatever the theme is, there's a theme. And I help the client work through what that theme is for them. Then we start to talk about actions and goals that they could take. And then the most important question comes. If you did all these things, how will you feel? Because when we set a goal and we know how we're going to feel on the other side of that goal, getting after that goal is easy. I set a goal in 2022 to become a world-renowned speaker, coach, and educator. And I told myself every day, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a world-renowned speaker, coach, and educator. I feel free. I feel unique and valuable. And those feelings of especially freedom got me taking action every single day. And in 2023, I got the ultimate freedom, leaving my corporate job and going out solo. So it was the feeling of freedom that got me there, right?
Mhm.
So that's it. That's my goal setting formula that I use with people. It works. It's amazing. I helped clients set goals to like get over their fear of swimming in deep water so that they could finally do a triathlon. I've helped, and they thought about the feelings. How am I going to feel at the end of that triathlon? And that helped them get over the fear of swimming in deep water. I helped clients set goals to get the next corporate promotion, and they knew they were going to feel so proud and accomplished at the end of that. So, all different types of goals that I work with people, but if you know how you're going to feel at the end, getting after it's easy.
And it's easier to hang on to that feeling, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of people will talk about the why behind things, which
Mhm.
is great. Although I'm a little bored of talking about the why. I like this idea of bringing in the feeling of it because that's something that you can bring into your body. The why is still a question that lives in your mind,
Mhm.
but the feeling is something that lives in your body.
Mhm.
And that is where it's most powerful, I
Yeah.
think. So I love that. I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Also, side note, if anyone's into manifestation, that's kind of the key to manifestation.
Yes. I may be a manifester.
Yes. Yes, I may be a manifester as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we get along so well. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you share with us some of the habits that are kind of required to get to this feeling? Because we have our goal, we know what we want it to feel like. We've got that, understanding mentally, and we're in our body. But what's the physical actions like and habits that we're going to need to get there? And does it depend on the goal?
Yeah. The physical action doesn't depend on the goal at all. The physical action requires having a beautiful journal and writing down your goal every single day. You write it down every day. The repetition of writing that goal every single day. And I've had clients say, like, every day? Yeah, every day. Every day? I'm like, do you want it to happen or not want it to happen? If you want it to happen, you write it every day. You read it to yourself every day. You look in the mirror and you read it to yourself. You put it on your voice note on your phone and you listen back. And that repetition and repetition and repetition gets it into your subconscious. You start taking action every day towards that goal without even knowing you're taking action.
Hmm.
I mentioned about getting a degree while raising three kids. I'm working a corporate job and building a business. My goal around that was I'm so happy and grateful now that I've earned my Bachelor of Education degree. I can't wait to hear my kids and husband cheer wildly as I cross the stage. Every time I sat down to work on that course, I heard my husband and kids cheering as I crossed that stage. And that it was so easy. It was so easy for me to get that degree because I was so focused on that feeling of how good it would be for my almost adult kids to see me cross the stage. And it was amazing. Like I cried, of course, but it was spectacular, right?
Yeah.
Because I had that clear goal.
Wow.
Mhm.
And I want to know, just sort of curiously, as someone who has done all those things simultaneously with ease and flow, can you share some of like the secrets behind it in terms of how the time got managed because that's a lot to fit into someone's calendar and was there balance? And if you were able to find, you know, balance between all these things while you're doing it, or was that a season where like you had to focus on specific things? Like what did that look like in real life for you?
Yeah, in real life, I was really in a great, I still am in this great state of flow. And so I would start to stress and be like, I have so many things to do, you know? And how does being at that spot help me get anything done? Nothing. That's just paralyzing, right? So I would relax. I did tons of meditation, tons of journaling, and reminded myself I have enough time for everything that matters. It's all going to get done. And also, like, if I get 75 on an essay instead of 100%, it's totally fine, right? Like, there's no grades on your degree. Although I did very well in school, but yeah, it it all came together with ease. I kept telling myself, it's going to be easy. I can do this. It's going to be easy. There'd be times where I'd be like, oh, that paper is due in 10 days. Oh my God, I haven't even started it yet. And I would start to freak out. And I would just tell myself, no freaking out aloud. Like, that's not going to help anything. Go for a walk in the forest. Think about it. Then, when it's time, like I would sit down and try to write and it wasn't coming, I would have to walk away. And then I would come back and it would be easy.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
think that, like, it's really was a mindset that it's going to be easier. I'm not doing it. And so when I sat down and it was hard, I would walk away. And then I would come back and it would be so easy. So,
That self-trust, I
yeah.
think that you
And
can.
then in terms of like time management, I did do a lot of it in the evenings. My daughter is younger, so she was like 7 or 8 when I was doing it. So, I could put her to bed and then I could work on it for an hour or two in the evenings. I also found early mornings when I was working full time and starting my business from 6 to 7:30 was when I built my business. So I was disciplined. I got up, started my day with intention, journaling, and then worked on my business for an hour, whatever it was I could do for an hour, and then I worked my day job. So, and you can do a lot 1 hour a day working on a business.
Right. It's the consistency that people don't
Yeah.
realize. Like things inevitably take a long time. I think people who have a goal get frustrated or discouraged often because they don't see the results right away. But if we look at it realistically, most goals, most big things that we're going to do take time. And if we're consistent with the time, you're putting in effort every single day and um, small steps. Like it's like stacking dimes to save money, right? Like it all counts. And the consistency means that it becomes a habit. And so it doesn't feel hard. It doesn't feel like another thing you need to think about because it's just part of what you do. It's just part of who you are. But showing up to that version of yourself every day is so powerful. Um, and realizing like, hey, I have the time I need, right? Like you had said earlier, I also have an affirmation that I say to myself every single day, which is I have all the time I need to do everything I want to do. And it all comes back to that mindset that you mentioned.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
Um,
powerful.
how difficult is it for your clients who come to you to get into this mindset? Or is it easy? Like how long does that shift take? Because I feel like that's the hardest thing is shifting and reframing in your mind. Is that something that you find, or is that one of the easier things?
No, it definitely takes time. So the clients that I work with, work with clients one-on-one, and they get 7 sessions with me. And because I'm working with busy moms, my program's super flexible. So that 7 sessions might be over 10 weeks, but it might be over 20 weeks, right? It's all dependent on what works for my client. And it's the repetition in the beginning. So week 1, we're talking about the goal, and every day they're writing that goal down. And I'm checking in to make sure they're writing that goal down every day, right? And then we get into developing grit and developing grace. And then we talk about flow and ease, and we talk about the importance of rest and reflection. So all the things that I kind of mentioned in how I got my degree, that's how my coaching program is built for my clients.
Hmm.
And yeah, it does take time. It takes 10 to 20 weeks, right? But it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, and the time is going to pass anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, like where do you want to be 10 weeks from now? In the same spot you're in? We're in a whole new place.
Yeah. And to be clear, if you're listening, we're not saying every goal can be achieved in 10 to 20 weeks, but the process of shifting into it and getting the momentum and really starting the process, that's definitely achievable in 10 to 20 weeks.
Yes. And I've had clients set goals that they want to achieve in 10 weeks, but I've had clients set goals that they want to achieve in 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And if people are on this path already, or they're thinking like, okay, yeah, I've got this goal. I've kind of started. How do they know? Is there a way for them to check in and see if they're on the right path? Like if they're walking the straight and narrow?
Yeah. Does it feel aligned? Does it feel easy? Does it feel like they're actually going to achieve it? Or did they just set it? Like I had a client set a goal around running. And I said, why do you want to set a goal around running? Because I hate it and I want to start enjoying it. I was like, if you hate running, it's probably not a good goal. But still, she set the goal. And then a few months later, actually, she was like, yeah, I think my goal should be around walking. I'm like, yeah, you like walking. You don't like running. Like, why are you torturing yourself?
Right.
Like we shouldn't set goals around things we don't like. We should spend time doing things we do like to do. Like life is very short, right? So,
I was actually having a conversation, kind of similar to this with my 11-year-old the other day, in that we, even in school, what we're still being taught is that we're supposed to work really hard to be good at every single subject. And yet each of us has our unique strengths, and there are things that we're not great at. And so can you imagine if the school system, like we can start at home, but can you imagine if our kids were kind of taught like, hey, go all in on the stuff that you're excellent at, and like show up to the things that you're not great at, but don't stress about it. Somebody else is great at that. Like, yes, you need to learn math, but if math isn't your strong suit, then don't stress about getting an A in math. Show up and do your best, and then put that effort into something to be, a subject or yeah, a talent that you've got, that by putting that effort there, it's going to exponentially increase the happiness in your life and the success in your life, because you're focusing your energy on the stuff that you're good at, right?
that's so beautiful. As you're saying that, I have full goosebumps down my legs, which my friend Jody calls truth bumps. That means you're speaking the truth. So imagine if school was like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
even like for me, in my example, I was really good at math and science.
Right.
I like math, definitely, but I went the science path. Do I like science? No, I was just really good at it. Like, what did I like? I loved drama. That was my favorite thing. Did I take a single drama class in university? No, like
And
not
the
even
other piece
as an
of,
elective.
right. Yeah. The other piece
Like,
of it is like, we don't have to incorporate the things that we love into our work. Like, there are other places for that in our life. It can be
totally.
a hobby, right?
Yeah, totally. Mm.
Do you do drama as a hobby? Like, are you into improv or anything like that?
Well, I'm a professional speaker, so I do stand on stage with a microphone in my hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But
That's the goal.
I have looked into, the thing is, you have to go all in. Like if you want to be in a play, I have looked into a few local theaters, and I'll probably do it with my daughter when she's a little bit older because she loves the stage as well. It's a huge commitment. So like it would mean like we're not playing hockey, we're not playing baseball, we're not doing anything. We're just doing the play for the next 6 months. So we will do it. I know we will, but not yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything in good time, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, I have one quick question before we wrap up, and that is, do you like the idea of your client having multiple goals at one time, or is focusing on one goal at a time the way to do it?
It depends on the client, totally. I have had at any given time 3 or 4 goals at a time. Yeah, and that's fine. Like I have a goal right now around releasing my book in April, which is exciting. I have a goal around my like annual sales for this year, which is also exciting because I haven't done that yet in my business. So yeah, I have a few goals for this year. Um, but some clients will only set one. It's all how it flows out. Sometimes they have a personal goal and a business goal. Um, yeah.
Cool.
The thing is if you have more than one, write them all down every day. Know
Right.
how and know how you're going to feel when you achieve them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And write it like it's already happened. So I'm so happy and grateful now that on December 31st, 2025, I've done this. What have you done? And I feel this. How do you feel? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems when you put it like that, it seems so achievable.
Yeah.
Simple, but not easy. It's not easy to do this every day and to show up with that commitment to yourself and to your intention. And if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. So even though it sounds simple, you might be listening thinking, yeah, that's easy. No, it's not easy because if it was easy, you'd already be doing it. It still takes work and you need support and accountability as you go through it. And that's why coaches exist, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Literally the
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Um,
And like it actually, the act of writing something down every day is pretty damn easy. So just do it, right? Like even like you could have your journal on your bedside table, open it up before you do anything else and write. Just pretend you slept for one more minute and write for 1 minute. Right?
and I will offer something that works for me. I love the idea of journaling
Mhm.
and I never do it. And so
Mhm.
what I do instead is I verbal journal. I call
Yeah.
it verbaling. And so instead of taking the time to sit down and do the writing, even as a writer, like I'm a writer and I can't sit down and journal, but what I found does work for me is verbalizing it. And so in the car, after I drop the kids off on the 15 minutes back, I journal out loud to myself there. And there's something for me really powerful about that. It's still the same um, intention behind what we're doing, but we're doing it in a way that works for me in my life. And so I encourage you, if you're listening, to find a way to do this practice
Mhm.
of stating your goal and experiencing the feeling every single day in a way that works for you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, mine is in the shower.
love
I
it.
do my affirmations. I am strong. I'm beautiful. I can do all of this as I'm washing my hair every
Yeah.
morning. And, yeah, whatever
Beautiful.
works for you. It doesn't, you don't have to sit down with pen and paper. Say it out loud, record it,
Mhm.
play it back to yourself. Write it
Totally.
down once and have it on your bedside table and pick it up and read it to yourself every morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's super powerful putting pen to paper with your physical body. You're creating something in the world that didn't exist before, just the same as verbally saying out loud, you're creating this thing in the world, this vibration, this sound, just as you're creating the physical paper, like the pen on paper. And that's
Beautiful.
you putting it into real life, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it will happen.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this work is like it literally does happen. And then it's so
Mhm.
exciting because you're like, whoa. And then you can't stop because you realize that it's real. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah. One of my goals is around being active. Like I take 10,000 steps a day. I go to the gym once a week with a trainer, and it makes me feel strong. So I feel strong, but also getting dressed, this is part of my goal. Getting dressed is easy because everything in my closet fits and looks great.
Mm.
I say that every day. Getting dressed is easy because everything in my closet fits and looks great. And it's taken a couple years, but yes, everything in my closet fits and looks great. And if I pull something out and I put it on and it doesn't fit or look great, it goes straight into the donation bin. It
Hmm.
doesn't go back in my closet thinking, oh, maybe it'll fit me 5 years from now. Okay, no, it doesn't fit me. Like,
I love that.
so I
So
like
smart.
everything in my closet fits and looks great. I tell myself that all the time. Then I look in the mirror and instead of thinking, oh, this makes me look fat, I'm thinking everything in my closet fits and looks great. Look at me, I look great. Like it takes a long time, these habits, but they can be so profoundly impactful.
Hmm.
I'm at this phase of my life where I look in the mirror, I'm like, holy shit, I look great. Whereas I saw something the other day that said, I'm so mad I spent my skinny years thinking I was fat.
Oh my
Like
God.
maybe I weighed 20 pounds less 20 years ago. I didn't love myself this much. I did not feel as good. I did not look in the mirror and think I looked great. Right. So look in the mirror and tell yourself you look great.
Yeah. I love this. There's so many good tips. And I think that anyone who's listening can really feel the power of the work that you
Mhm.
do if they want to dive in
I know I
deeper.
want to just reach out and give the listeners a big hug. Like I'm a huge hugger. So if you're listening, feel it.
Yes, yes. And reach back out, right? Like we have extended an olive branch of wisdom and invitation for you to connect with Sarah. And so we encourage you, take it, reach back out to Sarah, right? What's the best place for people to get connected with you and start to learn and grow with you?
Yeah, I think the funnest place I'm having fun being in is the Instagram stories. So my handle is at Pearl Performance Inc. My company is Pearl Performance. So yeah, I'm there in my stories almost every day. So you can come get to know me there. I'm also on LinkedIn, Sarah Kinlin, and my website is www.sarahkinlin.com.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And I know that we put a lot of good into the world through this episode. So thank you for that.
This has been very awesome. Thanks, Jill. I really have enjoyed your time. And to everyone listening, thank you for listening.
Yeah. And until next week, keep on growing like a mother.